The drone fell like a drunk bird, plastic and carbon fiber scraping across the gravel roof before wedging itself between two ventilation units. Alex Chen heard it from 3 buildings over, that specific whine and crunch that meant someone's €1,500 just became e-waste. He swung his camera rig toward the sound, still recording. The sunrise over Berlin painted everything gold and rust, the kind of light that made his subscribers comment fire emojis by the hundreds. But the crashed drone pulled at him. Professional curiosity, maybe, or just the basic human need to witness someone else's disaster. "Stay focused," he muttered to himself, panning back to catch the U-Bahn trains sliding through Friedrichshain below, but his eyes kept drifting to that rooftop. 20 minutes later, he stood over the wreckage. DJI Mavic 3 Pro, same model as his, same matte grey finish, even the same aftermarket propeller guards. But when he flipped it over to check the serial number, the digits meant nothing. Not his, not anyone's he knew from the Berlin drone community. The SD card popped out easily, still intact. Back in his apartment, Mira's toothbrush sat in a cup next to his, her overnight bag spilling clothes across his bedroom floor. She'd stayed 3 nights this week. A record. He could hear her in the shower, humming something off-key and beautiful. Alex slotted the card into his editing rig. 47 minutes of footage loaded. The timestamp made him blink twice. November 15th, 2024, 3 days from now. That's not... He stopped himself, checked his system clock. November 12th stared back at him. He scrubbed through the footage. Alexanderplatz from above, the spray reflecting afternoon light, construction cranes swinging loads through space. Normal Berlin, except the crane at Potsdamer Platz didn't exist yet. He'd filmed there yesterday for a hyperlapse. Empty lot. But the permits were posted. He'd seen them. Construction starting Monday. His finger hovered over the mouse. The footage continued. A protest march down Unter den Linden. Hundreds of people with signs he couldn't quite read at this resolution. The Brandenburg Gate. The Fernsehturm needle-piercing low clouds. Then the drone lifted, spiraling up the TV tower's spine. The observation deck came into view. A figure stood at the railing. Navy jacket, black beanie, that specific way of holding shoulders that made Alex's stomach clench. The drone pushed closer. The figure turned. Alex saw his own face, clear as daylight, mouth open in what might have been a scream. Then the body pitched forward, disappearing over the railing, arms wheeling through empty air. The drone followed the descent for 3 seconds before its own trajectory went wild, spinning into static. "Babe?" Mira's voice came from the bedroom. "You editing already? It's not even 9. Alex realized he'd stopped breathing, started again. "Just checking something." "Coffee?" she offered. "Yeah, please." He played the final sequence again. Frame by frame this time. His jacket, the navy Patagonia he'd bought last month. The beanie Mira had knitted him. The scar on his left hand from a childhood bike accident, visible for exactly 2 frames as his hand gripped the railing. The metadata looked clean. No artifacts. No compression signatures that suggested manipulation. If someone had faked this, they were better than anyone he knew. Better than him, and he'd been cutting footage for 8 years. Mira appeared with 2 mugs, her hair wrapped in his towel. "You look like you've seen a ghost." "Weird footage from a crashed drone," he said, minimizing the window before she could look closer. "Probably some film student's project." She kissed his temple, left a wet mark. "Don't steal their ideas. You've got plenty of your own." After she left for work, Alex watched it 7 more times, made notes. The protest signs, when he finally enhanced them. "Justice for Köpenick." He Googled it. Nothing. Köpenick was just a quiet district in southeast Berlin. No recent crimes, no scandals. The graffiti on a wall near Alexanderplatz, a stylized crow with "Zeit läuft" underneath. Time runs. The wall in the footage, he knew that wall. Passed it every week. Currently covered in nothing but fading concert posters. He grabbed his camera and took the U-Bahn to Alexanderplatz. The wall stood exactly as he remembered. No crow, no message. But there was a kid with spray cans in his backpack, leaning against it, scrolling through his phone. "Hey," Alex called out. The kid looked up, already suspicious. "You tag? You a cop?" the kid asked defensively. "Do I look like a cop?" Alex held up his camera. "I filmed the city. Document things." The kid relaxed slightly. "Sometimes. Why? You know anyone who signs with a crow?" Alex asked. "Crow?" The kid's eyes shifted. "Yeah. König. Crow King. Why? Where does he usually work?" "She. And nowhere yet. She's new. Been planning her first big piece for weeks. Supposed to go up this weekend," the kid explained, pointing at the wall. "Right here, actually." Alex's mouth went dry. "A crow with text? How'd you know that?" the kid asked, suspicious again. Lucky guess. He walked back toward the tower, let his feet carry him while his mind churned. The Fernsehturm loomed ahead, its sphere catching clouds. Observation deck tickets were sold out for the week. He'd checked earlier on his phone, some paranoid impulse. But if the footage was real, if it somehow showed the actual future, he'd be up there in 3 days. He'd fall, or step over, or be pushed. That night, Mira found him surrounded by printouts, laptop screens, his phone playing the footage on loop. "Alex, what the hell?" she asked. He looked up, eyes red. "I need to show you something." She watched the full footage once, then the final scene 3 times. Her face went through phases: confusion, concern, something approaching fear. "This is elaborate," she finally said. "It's not fake," Alex insisted. "Then someone's messing with you. Someone who knows you really well." "The timestamp can be changed," she interrupted. "The crane that doesn't exist yet. CGI, deepfake, whatever," she said, grabbing his shoulders. "Alex, someone is trying to seriously mess with your head." "What if it's real?" he asked. "It's not. But what if—" "Then you don't go to the tower," she said simply. "You stay here, with me, for the next week if necessary." He wanted to believe her, wanted to think it was that easy, but the crow was real. The kid had confirmed it. A piece that hadn't been painted yet, wouldn't exist for days, but somehow the drone had already seen it. The next morning, Alex went back to the wall. The crow stared back at him, fresh black paint still gleaming. Zeit läuft, spelled out in sharp, angular letters beneath its wings. His phone buzzed. "Mira, where are you? You said you'd stay home." He took a photo of the graffiti, sent it to her. No response for a full minute. Then, "That wasn't there yesterday." "No, it wasn't. I'm coming to you. Don't move." But Alex was already walking toward the tower. He needed to see the observation deck, needed to prove to himself that there was some explanation. The entrance was packed with tourists. The ticket counter had a sign, "Ausverkauft, sold out." "Excuse me," he asked the guard. "Is there any way to get up today?" "Not without a reservation." "Booked solid through Monday," the guard replied. Monday, the day after his supposed moment. He started to turn away when the guard's radio crackled. A brief German exchange he couldn't quite catch. The guard looked at him strangely. "Actually, sir, what's your name?" the guard asked. "Alex Chen." The guard checked something on his tablet. "There's a reservation here. November 15th, 3 p.m. That's 3 days from now." "Yes, under your name." "I didn't make that," Alex protested. The guard shrugged. "It's in the system, paid for and everything." Alex's phone rang. Mira. He didn't answer. He spent the rest of the day trying to trace the drone's origins. Serial number led nowhere. Didn't exist in DJI's database. The memory card had no fingerprints but his own. The footage remained impossibly real, impossibly specific, impossibly future. That evening he found himself at a camera store in Prenzlauer Berg. Just browsing, he told himself. Just killing time. But his feet carried him to the video section, and his hands picked up a Blackmagic pocket cinema camera. The exact model that appeared in the tower footage, visible in a window's reflection as he supposedly documented his final moments. "Beautiful camera," the clerk said. "Just got them in. Want to hold it?" The weight felt predetermined in his hands. "I'll take it," Alex heard himself say. The words came from somewhere outside his control, like watching his own footage from a third-person angle. "Excellent choice. Cash or card?" the clerk asked. He paid cash, counted out bills he'd withdrawn that morning for no reason he could name. The camera went into a bag that felt heavier than its actual weight. Mira was waiting in his apartment, laptop open. "I've been researching temporal anomalies." "Mira," he began. "No, listen. There are theories. Closed time-like curves. The Novikov self-consistency principle. If time travel exists, even informational time travel like video from the future, then paradoxes self-resolve. You can't change what's already happened." "But it hasn't happened yet," Alex pointed out. "To the drone it has," she said, pulling up equations he didn't understand. "Look, if this is real, and I'm not saying it is, then everything you do to avoid it might be exactly what causes it." "So I'm supposed to just walk up there and let it happen?" he asked. "No. Maybe you're supposed to figure out why you don't." Alex played the footage again on his main monitor. This time he noticed something new. Another drone in the background, barely visible, hovering near a building adjacent to the tower. Its camera pointed directly at him. "There's someone else filming," he said. Mira leaned in. "Where?" He enhanced the section, pushed the software until pixels broke into abstract squares. The drone was there, definitely there, and on the rooftop below it, a figure with a controller. "Can you enhance the operator?" she asked. "Not from this angle, not with this resolution," he replied. But something about the stance, the way the figure held the controller, felt familiar. His phone buzzed. A YouTube comment on his latest video posted 3 minutes ago. "See you at the tower, Alex." The username was AlexChen2025. "That's next year," Mira said quietly. "That's impossible." She pulled up the profile. "Created today. No videos, no subscribers, just that single comment." Alex grabbed his current drone and launched it from the balcony, sending it up into the darkening Berlin sky. He needed to fly, needed to think in 3 dimensions. The city spread below him through the drone's camera, lights coming on in windows, traffic flowing like blood through concrete veins. The Fernsehturm stood illuminated against the purple sky. His drone circled it slowly. The observation deck was closed now, empty behind glass. He tried to imagine himself up there in 3 days, looking down at this same view. What would drive him to the edge? What would make him go over? The drone's battery warning flashed. He brought it home, landing it on the balcony just as Mira stepped outside with tea. "I booked us tickets to Prague," she said. "Friday morning. We leave before the reservation." "What if I'm meant to be there?" Alex asked. "Meant by who? God? The universe? Some time-traveling version of yourself?" She set down the tea harder than necessary. "This is insane. The graffiti was real. The crane will be real. The protest—" "You don't know about the protest yet," she interrupted. But he would. Thursday brought news of a scandal in Köpenick, a covered-up chemical spill from 6 months ago, just revealed by whistleblowers. By noon, protesters were organizing on social media. Justice for Köpenick, march on Friday. Alex showed Mira the news on his phone. She'd gone pale. "We're still going to Prague," she said firmly. "The train tickets you booked. What time?" She checked her phone. 11 a.m. "The tower reservation is at 3, so we'll be gone." "Will we?" Alex pulled up the Deutsche Bahn app, typed in their confirmation number. The booking showed cancelled. "Did you—" "No, I didn't cancel them," Mira said, her hands shaking as she tried to rebook. Error message. The site crashed. She tried another browser. Payment declined. Called the station directly. All Friday trains were suddenly, mysteriously, fully booked. "It's like the universe wants me there," Alex said. "The universe doesn't want anything. This is just—" She stopped. They both knew she had no explanation. That night, neither of them slept. Alex studied the footage until his eyes burned. The other drone, the one watching him fall, He mapped its position, calculated angles. If he could find that operator, maybe they'd have answers. At 3 a.m., a thought struck him. He pulled up the footage again, this time focusing not on the moment itself, but on the seconds before. In the tower's glass, barely visible, he was holding the black magic camera, filming something to his left. But what? He enhanced that section until the image fell apart, then reconstructed it using AI upscaling. There, in the distance, past his shoulder, another figure on the observation deck. Someone in a grey hoodie, face obscured, hands pressing against the glass like they were trying to escape. "Mira, look at this," he called out. She was already awake, staring at the ceiling. Someone else is there? Someone else who doesn't want to be there. Friday morning came grey and cold. Alex stood in his apartment, every instinct screaming at him to stay. Mira had barricaded the door with a chair, half joking, half serious. "You don't leave," she said. "We order food. We watch movies. We pretend this is a normal day." At noon, Alex's phone rang. Unknown number, Berlin area code. "Don't answer it," Mira warned. He answered it. "Herr Chen, this is the Berlin police. There's been an incident at Alexanderplatz. We need you to come identify someone," a woman's voice said. "Who?" Alex asked. "We believe it's someone you know. They had your business card." Mira grabbed the phone. "He's not available. Whatever this is, ma'am, it's urgent. There's been an accident. Or, we're not sure what to call it yet," the officer continued. Alex took the phone back. "Who is it?" "We can't say over the phone, but they're asking for you. Only you." The protest was in full swing when they reached Alexanderplatz, exactly as the footage had shown. Hundreds of people with signs, chanting about Köpenick, about cover-ups, about justice. Police barriers funneled them down Unter den Linden. The officer who'd called met them at the station. "Thank you for coming. This way." He led them not to the morgue but to an interrogation room. Inside, someone sat hunched in a grey hoodie, face down on the table. "They won't talk to anyone but you," the officer explained. "Won't even tell us their name." Alex stepped inside. The figure looked up. It was his face. Older, maybe by a year. Beard grown out. Eyes hollowed by something that looked like exhaustion or desperation or both. "Hello, Alex," his older self said. "We need to talk about the tower." Mira made a sound behind him. Not quite a scream. More like all the air leaving her lungs at once. "It's a loop," older Alex continued. "It's always been a loop. The drone you found? I sent it. The footage of what happens to you? You don't disappear. You become me." "That's not possible," Alex said. "The tower, 3 p.m. You'll go because you have to go. Because you already went. Because I remember being you, sitting here, having this exact conversation." "Then I won't go," Alex insisted. Older Alex laughed, bitter and tired. "I said the same thing, word for word. But at 2:47 you'll get a call, and then you'll run to the tower. You'll take the elevator. You'll reach the observation deck at exactly 3:11. "What call?" Alex demanded. Older Alex looked at Mira. "I'm so sorry." "What call?" Alex grabbed his older self's shoulders. "What happens to her?" "Nothing. Everything. She's fine. She'll always be fine. But you'll think—" He stopped. "I can't tell you. If I tell you, it changes. And if it changes, the loop breaks. And if the loop breaks, then I'm free," Alex said. "Then you never existed. Neither of us did," older Alex corrected. He pulled out a phone. Alex's phone, but scarred and beaten. "Look at the videos. Look at the dates. Hundreds of videos. The same day, November 15th, repeated over and over. Different years, 2025, 2026, 2027. Each video showing the same event from slightly different angles. The moment that never quite completed. Every year I try to change it," older Alex said. "Every year it happens exactly the same. You go up. You see yourself across the city, older, filming. You realize you're trapped. You step over, but you don't disappear. You land in a net that shouldn't exist. that only exists because you need it to exist. And then you live the year knowing that on November 15th, you'll be on that other rooftop, sending a drone back to warn yourself. This is insane, Alex said. Yes, you're lying. I'm not. Alex's phone rang. 2:47 p.m. The caller ID showed Mira's number, but the voice that came through wasn't hers. Static first. Then whispers overlapping. Dozens of versions of his own voice, all speaking at once. She's at the tower. She's at the tower. She's at the tower. She's... The line went dead. Alex turned to Mira, who was pulling out her own phone, confused. I didn't call you, she said. Someone spoofed your number, Alex said. But even as he said it, Alex was already moving toward the door. His older self didn't try to stop him. Check your pocket, older Alex said quietly. Alex found the black magic camera there, though he couldn't remember picking it up. The weight of it felt inevitable. Don't go, Mira pleaded, grabbing his arm. It's the trap. You heard him. This is how it starts. But Alex was already running. Through the police station, past the protests, toward the Fernsehturm rising like a needle ready to pierce the sky. His feet knew the route, had always known it, would always know it. The tower entrance was chaos. Tour groups, security, a line wrapping around the building. But as Alex approached, a guard waved him forward. Herr Chen, your reservation. This way, the guard said. I need to know. Is there a woman up there? Brown hair, about this tall? Alex tried to ask. Sir, I cannot discuss other guests. The elevator rose through the tower's spine. Other tourists chatted in 4 languages, pointed at the city shrinking below. Alex gripped the camera, watched the floor counter climb. His reflection in the polished doors looked pale, already ghost-like. At the observation deck, he pushed through the crowds, scanned every face for Mira's. She wasn't there. Of course she wasn't there. The loop required her absence, required his fear, required him to reach this specific spot at this specific moment. 3:11 p.m. He found himself at the western railing, exactly where the footage showed him. The city spread below, a perfect match to the drone video. Even the clouds were right, their shadows falling across identical buildings at identical angles. Alex raised the black magic camera, started filming without thinking. Through the viewfinder, he saw another rooftop, 200 meters away. A figure stood there with a drone controller. He maxed out the zoom. The figure's face resolved into familiar features. His own, just older. The same stance from the enhanced footage. Older Alex from next year, already locked into his role, piloting the drone that would crash 3 days ago. The drone approached, its camera eye finding him across the distance. Alex looked directly into it, saw himself reflected in its lens. Infinite recursion. Each Alex watching the next, watching the next, watching the next. His phone buzzed. A text from Mira. Where are you? I'm at your apartment. Your older self is gone. Police don't remember him. It's like he never existed. Alex typed back, I'm at the tower. Get down. Now. I can't. You can. You have free will. Did he? Every movement felt choreographed. Even his decision to approach the railing, to look down at the maintenance net that spread 30 feet below, invisible from most angles, but exactly where older Alex had said it would be. The net that shouldn't exist. The schedule on the maintenance office website clearly showed it wouldn't be installed until next month. But there it was, waiting to catch him, or rather, waiting to have always caught him. A security guard approached. Sir, please step back from the railing. There's a net down there, Alex said. The guard looked confused. What net? Alex pointed. The guard leaned over, squinted. I don't see any net, sir. Please step back. But Alex could see it clearly. Black mesh, industrial strength, the kind they used for construction safety. It existed because he needed it to exist, because the loop demanded his survival. The drone hovered closer, its mechanical whine filling his ears. Through the camera viewfinder, he watched his older self on the distant rooftop. Older Alex set down the controller and picked up binoculars. Their eyes met across the impossible distance. Older Alex mouthed words. "Step over." "No," Alex said to himself. "Step over. There has to be another way." But even as he said it, Alex felt his body moving, muscle memory from a future that had already happened. He set down the black magic camera, its recording still running, moved to the railing's edge. The wind hit him harder up here, tried to pull him back or push him forward. He couldn't tell which. The tourists screamed. Security rushed forward, but they moved like film played at half speed. Only Alex existed in real time now, balanced between past and future, between staying and going. He thought of Mira, their first date at a Vietnamese restaurant in Neukölln, her laughing at his terrible pronunciation, the way she looked in the morning, half asleep, reaching for coffee, the life they could have had if time moved in only one direction. His phone rang. Unknown number. He didn't answer, but he knew who it was. Himself, calling from next year, trying to warn himself from last year. The cycle spinning on. Alex looked down at the net only he could see, looked across at older Alex, who had become a mirror, reflecting his own future imprisonment, looked at the drone, patient and mechanical, recording everything for a crash that had already happened, would always happen. He thought about paradoxes, about closed loops, about Novikov's self-consistency principle. If he didn't step over, the loop broke. If the loop broke, he never would have received the warning. If he never received the warning, he wouldn't be here. But he was here. Therefore, he had to go through with it. "The universe doesn't make you do anything," he said to the wind. "You make yourself do it." He stepped forward into the void. The descent took 3 seconds, long enough to see the drone following him down, its camera catching every frame. Long enough to realize the net was dissolving, becoming transparent, becoming theoretical. Long enough to understand that survival itself was the paradox. He hit the net that didn't exist and bounced back up into air that tasted like copper and time. Security guards surrounded him, shouting in German and English. Someone called an ambulance. Someone else called the police. But their voices sounded distant, underwater. Alex stood up, uninjured. The net was gone now, had never been there. The guards looked at him like he'd performed a miracle, surviving something that should have ended everything. "How?" one kept asking. "How are you alive?" He couldn't answer. The truth was tied in temporal knots. They released him that evening after medical checks and evaluation. Mira waited outside the hospital, eyes red from crying. She slapped him, then held him so tight he couldn't breathe. "You went over. You actually went through with it," she said. "There was a net." "There was no net. I watched the footage. Everyone's posting it online. You went into nothing and somehow landed on your feet." Alex pulled out his phone, searched for the videos. Dozens of angles from tourist cameras. In none of them was there a net. Just him, falling, then standing up from concrete that should have ended everything. They walked home in silence. Berlin moved around them. Normal people living linear lives, cause before effect, morning before night. Alex envied them. In his apartment, the crashed drone sat on his desk where he'd left it. But something was different. A note underneath it, his own handwriting. "See you next year." He checked the date on the note. November 15th, 2025. "We could leave," Mira suggested. "Leave Berlin. Leave Germany. Go somewhere without towers." "It won't work. The loop finds a way," Alex said. "You don't know that." But he did. Already he could feel next year pulling at him. The weight of future memories. He would spend the year trying to break free. Would research temporal physics, study paradoxes, attempt to outsmart himself. And on November 15th, 2025, he would stand on that rooftop with a drone controller, watching his younger self go over the edge, sending back the warning that had already been sent. His phone buzzed. A new YouTube comment on his channel, from Alex Chen 2026. "The loop is tightening." Then another, from Alex Chen 2027. "We're all watching ourselves." And another, from Alex Chen 2028. There is no escape, only recursion. Mira read them over his shoulder. How many of you are there? Alex looked out the window at the Fernsehturm, lit up against the night. Somewhere up there, the observation deck held the ghost of his moment. Somewhere out there, infinite versions of himself were preparing to warn themselves about a future that had already happened. All of them, he said. All of me. The drone on his desk powered on by itself, propellers spinning up. Its camera turned toward him, red recording light blinking like a heartbeat. He could smash it, but another would appear. He could run, but the loop would follow. Instead, he picked up his own controller and sent his drone up into the night. Let it circle the tower, recording the empty observation deck, gathering footage for a video he'd post next year, or last year, or always. Time didn't run in lines anymore. It ran in circles, each revolution tighter than the last, until every November 15th became the same November 15th, and every version of Alex became every other version, caught forever in a net, made of nothing but the necessity of his own survival. Mira's hand found his in the dark. We'll figure this out. No, he said, watching his drone's feed on the monitor. We won't, but we'll try. Every year we'll try. Above the city, his drone captured the Fernsehturm in profile, a needle in the fabric of time, threading the same moment through itself again and again. In the footage, barely visible, another drone appeared, and another, and another. The sky filled with mechanical eyes, all watching, all recording, all waiting for next November 15th, or last November 15th, or the only November 15th that had ever existed. Alex saved the footage and titled it, The Loop, Year Zero. Upload scheduled for 3 days ago. The timestamp would be wrong, but also right. In a closed, time-like curve, every timestamp was both wrong and right. His phone rang. Unknown number. He knew who it was. Himself calling from next year. Or last year. The distinction had stopped mattering. He answered. Hello, Alex, his own voice said from the other end. Welcome to the loop.